gonna be great friends. Maybe we should do something this weekend. And then the next day, she unfollows me and it's like radio silence.
So who cares? Why not do your own thing and let them say what they want?
What's up, guys, and welcome to a different kind of video today. Well, I guess it's not that different. I sit down and I ramble about stuff and I make short, shitty lists about things all the time. But today is something I never thought I would make a video about, and that is going to be me becoming an alcoholic pretty much overnight, and the things that I have seen physiologically, behaviorally, and emotionally change within my body in that very short time. I know the title is a little inflammatory. I'm not actually an alcoholic. I would call an alcoholic someone who cannot stop, who's dependent on it, who drinks alone, who drinks obsessively. That's not me. But the difference in how much I used to drink versus how much I drink now is pretty fucking astounding. And when I got the idea for this video, it was because I was seeing a lot of changes in my lifestyle and in my health pretty much overnight, just from drinking twice to 4 times a week, while prior I would only drink once or twice a year. So I thought this would be interesting. If not, you can feel free to skip this. This is also going to be kind of a rambly vlog. I just want to talk to you guys about updates, how I've been feeling, what's going on. I know I mentioned recently that I had a weird bout of insomnia slash anxiety slash not being able to focus on things, and that's pretty much gone away, but some of the effects have lingered. I also want to apologize for how inflammatory the title is, because it might trigger some people. I honestly don't care if you're triggered. I know there are going to be some people that come in here that are like, oh my god, you're using the word alcoholic to try to get clickbait, and oh my god, my dad's an alcoholic, or I suffered greatly in my life from alcoholism. And I feel for you, I understand that, but once again, this is entertainment, and you should take every title and everything you see with a grain of salt and just watch the content that you actually enjoy. If you happen to only want to watch this content because it's actually pertaining to real alcoholism, this isn't the place where you're going to learn anything about real alcoholism, and I guess maybe I'll put some links down in the description. If you yourself are struggling with alcoholism and actually need some real guidance, I really hope you don't find guidance for things so heavy, such as alcoholism, on YouTube, especially not on my channel, because this is more of an opinion channel and I have to turn up the brightness because it is getting dark. Oh my god. Okay, that's better. Now, I'm not saying that every single thing on this list is going to be for sure 100% a byproduct of me starting to drink, but it really puts things into perspective when you're someone who's a casual drinker, or maybe you drink every weekend and you don't realize what it would be like if you weren't that person. Oh my god, there's a hummingbird outside. Oh my god. It was just like right outside the window. I swear to god, every time I do anything even remotely near nature, I have to have some kind of ADHD attack because something cool is happening. That is one perk I will give Vegas. Vegas is fucking amazing for its wildlife, for the random shit that just comes flying around through your window, the lizards, the bugs, the birds. It's amazing. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Let's talk about some things that I've noticed over the past month with a complete 180 lifestyle change is what we're going to say. Previously, and I've made a video on this before, I'm not much of a party goer. I find everything that happens at parties with illicit substances and drugs, substances and drugs and alcohol and all of that stuff to be quite surface level and fake. One of my best anecdotes of this is me going actually here to a wedding, my friend's wedding, and meeting other content creators there that were sitting at the same table that I was. The wife of the guy ends up gushing uncontrollably at me about all of her insecurities, adding me on Instagram, like prompting herself to find my Instagram. Like, what's your Instagram? Let me follow you. We're gonna be great friends. Maybe we should do something this weekend while we're all in town, and all of this stuff. And then the next day, she unfollows me and it's like radio silence. And this isn't just a one-off anecdote. It seems like when people get drunk, when people get on these substances, since they're so fake in their real lives, they finally open up without those inhibitions and start to be themselves. Then afterwards, they have some kind of dilemma about the fact that they were themselves and they're embarrassed, so they just like block you. And so any bond you make with these substances is more often than not going to be fake and surface level, and I just don't have any place in my life for that kind of thing. However, and the reason that I have started drinking more often, I do think sex while drunk, or at least a little tipsy, is a lot more fun, especially with a new person. So that's what I've been doing, and that's why I've been doing it. But generally, before that, it would just be like once a year when someone's in town, or once a year when Red can actually make enough time to come play a drunk stream with me or something, because I know how much Red loves to drink, and I know how much he loves to drink with me. So it would be very, very rare, and it definitely wouldn't be like a bi-weekly, tri-weekly, quadro-weekly thing like like it is now. I don't believe I will keep this up for much longer. Maybe I will cut it back to like one drink or something once in a while to just get slightly tipsy. I don't want to have some kind of crazy tolerance to it because it's really fucking bad for calories. It's really fucking bad for your body, your muscles, and these are objective things. Aside from the things I'm going to talk about that are more up for interpretation or subjective because I'm just experiencing them, but I haven't had a doctor tell me that this thing is going to happen to me. If you're someone who lifts weights and wants to be buff and wants to have a low body fat content, drinking a lot of alcohol is probably not for you. It's extremely catabolic. I think that's the opposite of anabolic. It's the opposite of anabolic, basically. It's gonna fuck your test, up your estrogen, I believe, and just completely ruin any kind of progress you have in the gym, even if it doesn't give you a massive headache that keeps you from going out and doing those productive things the next day. As you can see, I don't have a high opinion of drinking, but before we get into this list, I do want to say you should try things in your life within reason and carefully. I do think it's worth it for you to try something like this out, going out, getting drunk, having fun, partying, to see what kind of fun you like to have, and to mitigate the FOMO that you might have, the fear of missing out, because I used to have a fear of missing out slightly. I used to think that maybe I was just hating on partying and stuff because I never did it that much because I wasn't running with that group of friends that would do that kind of thing. So I was like, maybe it's just because I'm not getting invited out or something, or maybe because I don't go to these things that I'm hating on them. But when I've tried to go to them, I'm always reinforcing how I feel by the end of the day because I'm like, this was really pointless. I didn't make any new friends. I didn't build any stronger connections. I didn't have any deep conversations. And depending on how drunk I got, the sex was worse than it was better. So it's just not for me. But I understand, especially for someone who's really inhibited in their daily lives and want to have an excuse to act like an asshole and act like an idiot to kind of cathartically relieve that kind of stress. I can understand why people would like it. So you understand now my biases. You understand what's been happening. Here's what I've been drinking as a little preface too. I'm a pretty big lightweight. What I'll do is I'll have 3 mixed drinks max, and I might start out with a shot of vodka. I tried tequila one night and it just made my stomach in cramps. I've tried like switching to different alcohols, and my friend who is in town, who was the very first person to get me to drink this year, Leanne and her husband Blake, you know, Big Rig Barbie, they told me that if I stick to the same kind of liquor, I'll have less of the ill effects on my stomach and stuff like that. So I've been trying to stick to vodka because vodka seems to give me the cleanest drunk where I don't have like stomach cramps or feel nauseated right away. However, if I drink too much vodka, the room does start spinning, though I have not puked yet. So my max has been, I think, 4 mixed drinks and a shot. No, 2 shots and 3 mixed drinks. And my minimum is usually 3 mixed drinks with no shots. There's a hair on the tip of my nose. I just know it. Oh my God, get it off. It's just tickling the shit out of me. It's crazy. So that's basically what I drink, and that gets me pretty fucking drunk. That gets me drunk to the point where I am not really slurring my words. I'm having a really good time and I'm feeling good. I'm not blacking out. I've never blacked out, and I have a very, very, very small headache the next day. It's very mild. It's like a headache that's barely there, and then once I eat, it's better. And if I move my head too fast, I might get a little dizzy or something. That's basically the extent of the hangovers that I've been having. So I've been able to mitigate most of the hangover while still having fun, having sex or with my friends or whatever. I've also found, and these are some tips for you guys as well, and you can share yours in the comments for drinking more responsibly to the point where it doesn't like ruin your life and ruin your next day at least. I've found that if I drink, allow that one drunkenness to pass and then go to bed, I feel much better. Oh my God, this fucking hair is driving me crazy. Anyway, I feel much better as opposed to trying to keep the drunkenness up for like 5 hours, which is what I would do with a drunk stream with Red, because Red and I would try to stream for 5 hours and then, you know, we would get drunk pretty quickly and then keep it going. And then by the end, I'm like laying on the floor feeling like I'm gonna die. So the longer I keep up the drunkenness and the longer I basically stay awake while I'm drunk, the worse it feels. Okay, one more thing before we get into this. I was not always a goody-goody. I had a phase where I smoked a lot of weed and drank a lot, but that was a phase really early in my teens when I was 12, 13, 14, and it stopped there. And I felt like those 3 years of my life were 3 years where I was just doing this stuff in order to make myself feel happier and to make myself feel connected with a group of people that I didn't feel connected with when I was sober. That made me pretty depressed. I lost all of my gamer friends. I stopped gaming. I started to care more about the validation of these people, specifically boys that I was attracted to. It's never a good thing. I feel like I got that stuff out of my system and learned the harms, the social harms, not necessarily just the physical harms, the social harms and the psychological harms of doing that pretty early. Once again, I think there's a time and place to be celebrating. Like if you're going to like a big wedding that's like a once or twice a year thing, feel free to let loose. There are times when you can let loose, but having that self-control and knowing that allowing that kind of thing to rule your social relationships is going to be a recipe for having very shallow, shitty, dramatic social relationships, and it's gonna ruin your body. Let's get into this. The first thing I noticed is that my skin is worse. I started up on Curology and my skin has been fucking flawless for the past past like 2 months. Then I start drinking, and honestly, yes, when I go over to this guy's house who I'm drinking with, I don't usually take off my makeup and put it on like normal, but that's like once or twice a week. And I have noticed a marked disprovement, what's the word? Degradation, I don't know, of the quality of my skin since I started doing this stuff, and I don't feel like it's just because once or twice a week I don't wear the proper stuff on my skin. Because before Curology, I had pretty much the same skin, and I like would sleep in makeup all the time, and I would never double cleanse, and I wasn't doing anything as nearly as right as I am now. My skin has just gotten worse. I have like more acne around my T-zone area, stuff like just bumps, not stuff that you can see, nothing really big, but like clogged pores and stuff. Another thing that I have noticed that was like a night and day thing is that I have dark circles under my eyes without makeup now when I'm drinking a lot in the week, and I've never had dark circles before, ever. Like that's not a thing I have. I had like slight lines under my eyes that I filled with filler, but it would never be a dark circle. It would never be like the darkness that you have to brighten up or whatever, or cover with concealer or anything like that. It was just kind of the genetic lines that you have here from having a certain shaped nose or whatever, or getting older and losing the fullness here. But now I notice that even through my concealer occasionally, on these weeks that I've been drinking a lot, specifically the days that I wake up and feel a little worse, I actually have like purple, dark, kind of orangish sometimes circles under my eyes that I have to cover up. And then I also have bigger tear troughs, the genetic thing. It just seems like it's thinning my fat there or making my hyaluronic acid less plumpy or less there. I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely a drastic change for me at least. The next thing I noticed, and I'm gonna have you skip to this time in the video if you wanna keep up the sexiness of me. If you don't want anything to ruin the sexy, you wanna keep up the fantasy, I totally understand why maybe a majority of you guys are here. You wanna view me as sexy while hear me being real. Well, this next portion of the video, up until this timestamp, is gonna be a little too real for some of you. So Jay or anyone else that I find attractive, also please skip this part. But my digestion is so irregular now, and we're gonna get into the details. So again, please skip to that timestamp there. Okay, so I said in my 115 or whatever facts about me that I have really aesthetic shit. Yes, I did say that. And what I mean by that is I'm extremely regular. I'll wake up in the morning and then I'll have like one poop and it'll all be together and it'll all be nice. It's not too hard, not too soft. It looks really nice. It looks like a dildo, honestly. And it just comes out smooth, 10 seconds, wham, bam. I don't have gas throughout the day, like almost ever. My digestion is just really fucking good and I'm like proud of it, you know? I can't talk about it as much because not really a hot topic for sure, but I'm proud of it. After drinking every single time for the last like 3 or 4 weeks since I've been drinking a lot, I have not good digestion. My stomach cramps often. I feel like I have more gas. I feel like I have like almost borderline diarrhea like a lot, and then I'm irregular, so I'm like constipated, then a little bit of diarrhea, then not. It's just fucking awful. I apologize. Let's get back to the more normal stuff. But yeah, I definitely feel like drinking, especially something like tequila, makes you gross in terms of digestion. It can't be good for your stomach, your lining of your stomach, since it's fucking so acidic. I don't know, I'm just saying things out of my ass this time, but I'm 100% sure that more than any fast food I eat, more than any pizza, more than any tacos or anything that I eat, alcohol fucks with your digestion in a very bad way. Another thing is this bout of insomnia I had was really bad. I was sleeping like 1 to 3 hours a night. I was waking up all the time. I could not stay asleep. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, if this wasn't something that just kind of spiraled out of control for whatever reason. Like I wasn't getting a lot of sleep because I was working a lot and having this new like fling or whatever, and trying to spend time with Jay and spending time with my friends. And it just kind of wore me too thin to the point where I was worried about work, so I was waking up and I was staying up later because I was working, etc. But it became a snowball effect to the point where I could never sleep, and then my mental was fucked up, and I got into this really weird random depression that was basically based on when it got dark. Like I would be fine, I would be grinding, I would be in the zone, and then once it got dark and I was supposed to sleep, I knew I couldn't sleep, so then I would get into this like almost crying state for no reason. Nothing was wrong in my life. I just couldn't control my emotions, and I felt like I was a totally different fucking person. So if it is possible that the alcohol or the shift in my diet or whatever made me have that insomnia, that's definitely like a really, really big issue for me, because once you get into being an insomniac to a certain degree, it snowballs into completely changing who you are. Your mood, your personality, everything just shifts when you don't get enough sleep. It's pretty crazy if you look it up. All of the effects that can be wrought upon you just simply by not getting enough sleep or never sleeping because you can't. Another thing I didn't like was that even if I drink barely any at all and I have a nice buzz and then I go to sleep, I wake up, I have that dizzy feeling, I have that headache, and I feel like 60 to 70% throughout the day. I'm tireder earlier. I still haven't found the perfect balance between getting tipsy enough for it to actually matter and for it to be fun and for it to be worth it in bed specifically, and not waking up with any hangover the next day so I feel 100% and I want to go do stuff. Also, we drank the night before and then we went on a hike, and you get dehydrated so much quicker if you've drank in the last like 2 or 3 days before you do some kind of hike. Alcohol is a diuretic, but it also does something to your body where instead of retaining some of the fluid in your bladder so that you can absorb it and remain hydrated, it just flows right through you. So you have to keep drinking and keep drinking and keep drinking, and at that point you're drowning out your electrolytes, so you need something like Gatorade or some kind of sodium to bring back the electrolytes, and it's just like a vicious cycle that can be very dangerous in the desert heat of Nevada. I did a relatively easy 6-mile hike. It was hot, but I was definitely feeling the effects of that like really strong headache, feeling like I'm gonna pass out dehydration, simply because I wasn't retaining any of the water that I was drinking well enough because I had drank alcohol the day before. Another thing that annoyed me was the first few times I slept with this guy. By the way, the video is gonna be out talking all about him. I'm sorry I'm teasing you so much. I'm talking about TL here. If you watched my every guy I've ever fucked tier list video, which you should watch because it's pretty hilarious, he was the 11th guy on the list, the newest guy. And yeah, the first couple times that I slept with him, it was under the guise of alcohol. And I was realizing that I would have to go to his Instagram page randomly in between our meetings because I couldn't even remember what his face looked like. I didn't get a real good look at his dick. I felt it for sure, but I didn't get a real good look at his dick until we actually did some stuff that was sober. And it just feels like I lose part of my memory, the good stuff too. Like I like being a little hazy so that it's more fun and it's more sloppy, which I can kind of replicate when I'm sober anyway, but a lot of people can't. A lot of people need that inhibition release in order to like really be themselves. But I don't feel like I need it bad enough to warrant forgetting what a guy's face looks like that I've slept with 6 times, or not really knowing the curvature and the shape and the taste and the look of his dick until I see him again, and then I forget right away because there's like little spots in my memory that are hazy. And then, like I said before, we're also not building a real connection. We're building a connection based on substances, and that's kind of a detraction in my head. Personally, it's a little bit of a turnoff. This next one is another one where I'm not sure if it's just contributed to me having something new in my life, so I'm a little bit more excited about that than making videos or something, but I feel way less motivated to do pretty much anything. I'm not gonna harp too much on that one. I'm just gonna let it sit where it lies. I'm getting my motivation back slowly but surely, but I'm also tapering off the amount that I'm drinking too, so I don't know how much that has to do with it. A weird thing that I've noticed, I probably am gonna cut out the little coughs that I've been doing here, but I'm completely healthy. I no longer have strep throat. I didn't even cough when I had strep throat, and I definitely don't have COVID because I got tested for that too. But my voice sounds a little bit more like a smoker, and I'll randomly have to cough while I'm talking a lot. So while I'm doing a YouTube video or something, it just feels like it's really fucking up my throat to have something so hard and strong going down my throat that often. I would say it's akin to having like a crazy blowjob session and then just the day after that before you're like completely rested from that. I feel hoarse. I feel more like I have a smoker voice. It's just really weird. Another thing that's very obvious is, oh my god, the fucking calories. The only way I'm still losing weight / maintaining my weight here with drinking, and remember, I drink very little because I'm a lightweight. The only way I'm able to not get fat as fuck is by literally eating a piece of toast in the morning, a piece of toast before I go so that it absorbs some of the alcohol so I don't get super fucking sick and drunk really fast. And then that's all I eat in the day. And then I have these 3 or 4 mixed drinks and I'm pretty much at my caloric limit. So not only am I having to eat barely anything, which is fine because I'm kind of trying to stay not bloated to look hot while I'm fucking or whatever, right? But I'm also getting like 0 calories out of the emptiness that is alcohol, putting poison into my body. So my nutrition is probably horrific now for like 2 to 3 days out of the week. I'm not getting any of my macros and I'm not getting any of my actual nutrients and vitamins. I'm just eating bread, drink, bread, drink, which is like so not good for you. But I would much rather die of not having any of the right nutrients than get fat because I want to have alcohol occasionally. And the last thing I'm gonna say, because we've been talking long enough, is that it takes away time from things that actually matter. I would much rather, as I've said before, I don't want to harp on this and I don't want to tell you guys what to do, but I would consider, if I were you, if the connections that you're making with these people while you're partying are actually the kinds of connections that you feel are making you better as a person. Do you think these people or anyone would like you and hang out with you if you weren't all liquored up and acting a fool or getting on their level in order just to have some fun that you barely even remember? Is it worth it? To me, it's not. I don't want to feel like I'm harping on you guys, and I don't want to make you guys feel bad for your lifestyles. I just want you guys to think everything through and think my perspective through, because it's quite possible that I'm completely wrong about you if you are doing this, but it's also possible that I'm right and this kind of like clicks something in your brain. You're like, wow, wow, yeah, these people that I'm surrounding myself with are just party people and they wouldn't like me if I didn't party, or like, no, I don't really have the conversations and the insight from my friends or the support from my friends that I would actually want. Have you ever had as much fun just chilling and playing video games or whatever you do with your friends, you know, like watching sports or something, without the ridiculous amount of alcohol? Just ask yourself these things to make sure that it's worth it, because you're gonna be saving money, obviously, if you're not buying alcohol all the time. You're gonna be forming closer connections. And I do think that if you get a little tipsy with someone and you open up to someone and that person feels comfortable with you, then it can be a nice catalyst for a little bit of bonding. But I'm talking about like the hardcore, we're gonna get fucking blasted in a house with like 15 different people, half of them we don't know type of partying. I don't wanna demonize your lifestyle or the lifestyle of someone who has a few drinks or does it to release some of the stress of the week or anything. I just wanna make sure that the people who are going overboard have considered whether or not they're going overboard. So yeah, that's what's been going on with me. It's been fun. I've been trying to actually go back to the drawing board and figure out exactly what makes me have zero hangover but a clean buzz, and it's been fun to figure out. I'm not saying that I'm making a mistake here. I feel like in my late teens, early 20s, even late 20s, I never did much of that stuff. I never did much of the partying. I didn't have a phase like that. And the one that I had when I was much younger was much harder to obtain, obviously, and I didn't have the money or the means or the knowledge to do it as safely. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that I'm doing a little bit of it now within reason. But if like a year from now you see me drinking a lot or something, yeah, call me out on it, please, because I don't want to turn into some kind of weirdo alcoholic that has to like drown their problems away by drinking. By the way, White Claw is so fucking nasty, but we're gonna use it for the thumbnail, so let's do that. Please let me know if any of this stuff actually hits home with you, if you've thought about this stuff, if you went through these phases, if you completely disagree with me, if you've seen these kind of changes in your body, or if you got better after you stopped drinking. How do you feel about partying? Do you feel like it's the same way? Do you feel like there's a fine line between 3 or 4 friends getting a little tipsy and playing Mario Party and like a huge fucking house party full of like fucking blow and hookers? Let me know. I always want to hear your thoughts, and I'm open to criticisms and disagreements. It always makes things a lot better for me. I'm not gonna drink this, but we need some kind of thumbnail, don't we? Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Anyone else think White Claw is fucking disgusting and this lighting actually feels kind of like club lighting? Good job, Tara. All right, goodbye for real now. Hopefully these thumbnails worked out. Okay, bye.